Hello there, welcome to this video. We're going to talk about a balanced dwarf list with all the new stuff that's in the Arcane Tome. So I've done videos with all the sort of specialist sub-factions of dwarves. So now we're going to return to the overall dwarf list. We're going to sort of build it out and see if we can price it up and all the rest, and see if it's any good, and just removing all the stuff from the last one. Don't want hammers. The hammers are great, they're just too good. So this was my list beforehand. I thought, you know, a cheap engineer, I've added 2 generals for some reason. A cheap engineer to be the general, because essentially targeting options, they're very difficult to target, because as long as they're near a war machine. I then noticed, actually, that I didn't actually add any war machines. So that was possibly stupid. So this list was suboptimal. Anyway, Old World Builder doesn't like update your old lists, so we're gonna. But as you can see, I've got an anvil, I've got an engineer, I've got a thane that's battle standard bearer. We've got some rangers, warriors, ironbreakers, gyros, and then some iron drakes. Now, actually, the 0 to 3 rule doesn't apply to detachments, so we're going to be exploiting that a little bit. But anyway, let's delete that, get rid of that, and then let's start again. Let's do a new dwarf list. Dwarf. We're going to go Grand Army. Right, so we need a general. Anvil, like, I quite liked the idea of the double anvil, but it is expensive. However, it does mean that the key spells that you need to get off, you're more likely to get off. I'm still not sure about double anvil. Engineers now have really cool engineering runes, which are these, which are absolutely fantastic. Anybody can actually take them. They don't have to be an engineer. However, the reason you'd want an engineer is this, because it's got ballistic skill 5. So if you're going to invest some points into something that's going to you know, do well, then you're better off with an engineer. I know some people think, you know, or I have seen some people be like, well, let's take a king and let's, you know, but king's only BS4, so, you know, why would you? And if you're going to make a range threat, you want it to stay at range. So anvil, engineer. We do want a thane because we do want a BSB, and we take Master Rune of Grunye because it's the best thing in the book, or one of the best things in the book. So we take that. Engineer. So let's have a look at some of these cool engineering runes now. Where's? Oh, there we are. So you don't have that much in terms of points, because we've only got 50 points that we can spend on engineering runes. I noticed that about my expeditionary force list. I got that completely wrong. I built that the other day and I forgot about the 50 point cap on engineering runes. So you just got to be a bit careful. Now, they are quite cool. Oh, the rules aren't here. The rules are indeed also here, though. So let's have a look at. It's after all of this, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is. Here we go. Right, so we've got 50 points. So we've got Master Rune of Piercing, which is +1 strength, and it has through and through. You can't take Master Rune of Piercing and Rune of Rapid Fire on an engineer in a normal, because that's over 50 points, obviously. You can take Master Rune of Bursting Flame and Rune of Rapid Fire. Rune of Rapid Fire gives you quick shot. So you basically, you've got a choice as to, do you make it like a mini bolt thrower, or do you make it like it does 2d3 hits every time you do a hit? So giving it 2 shots and quick shot, you know, 4d3 hits potentially. With a handgun, it's pretty good. You might do 8 hits, which is, you know, you should do like 4 to 8 hits. So that's basically the same as having 12 Thunderers in a unit. So it's a pretty cheap option. You got the Rune of Concussive Force, but again, you're limited because of the amount of points you can take. So that's always a bit of a problem, really. I guess that's why some people go for a king, because then they can take more weapon runes. But you know. I'm not so sure about that. I'm tempted by this Master Rune of Bursting Flame and the Rune of Rapid Fire. I think that's a pretty decent combo. The Master Rune of Slaying, though, however, is really interesting. So if you're hitting a behemoth, 3's always wound, and also it then becomes multiple wound D3. So it's really good for like shooting those monsters that are kind of flapping around, especially with BS5. You know, you're probably going to be hitting on 3's at long range, which is okay, and then wounding on 3's. The problem with like a 3's and 3's style thing is that, you know, that means it's successful 4/9 of the time, so it's less than 50-50. And realistically, what you're going to get 3 or 4 shots off in a game. So like, you know, you're talking about 1 or 2 armor saves, and then maybe, you know, so 50 points for like maybe doing 2 wounds to a monster rather than probably doing none is like maybe 2-4 wounds, something like that. It's very swingy and not very reliable. So although it looks good on paper, I don't think it's good in practice. This, however, Master Rune of Bursting Flame and Rune of Rapid Fire means that essentially you don't have to take a unit of Thunderers or whatever, because this does it for you. Plus also all the other cool stuff that engineers do. So for 112 points, if we just look at Thunderers, you know, so the reason I'm saying it's a bit like having a 1 dwarf unit of Thunderers is, so essentially you're going to be hitting on 3's basic, because quick shot means you're at -1. You're hitting on 4's at long range, and that's about it. So, you know, 1 go through, 2d3 hits on average 4. You know, Thunderers at long range are going to be, you know, hitting on, and also it then gets quick shot, which means you're only it's ponderous. So ponderous is -2 if you move and shoot. Quick shot means that you that goes back down to -1. So even if you move, you're hitting on 5's. But anyway, back to your Thunderers just shooting at long range. They're going to be hitting on 5's. So, you know, in order to get 4 hits, which is kind of the average for the engineer, you would need to take 12 of them, wouldn't you? So we take 12, and you can see that the Thunderers are actually more expensive than an engineer. So a unit of 12 Thunderers or an engineer. Yes, the Thunderers have got more wounds and they're more scalable. However, the engineer is quite difficult to target with it being a lone character. Okay. The Thane we've made, the Thane we've made into a battle standard bearer, and possibly make the engineer a general. Cool. Core units. Now here we're paying a core unit tax. We're always paying a core unit tax. Rangers, we're allowed to take 1 unit of Rangers as core, so do that. Give them all the upgrades that they can take, because they're worth it. And I think that's probably a bit much. That's 18 is probably about right. And you get 36 Dwarf Warriors in a box, so you might as well then have some Warriors as well. Like a block of 18 of those. So you might as well do that. Let's do that. Okay, cool. And we are... is there a banner of... There's not a banner of... there's not a banner of stubborn, which is annoying, but yeah, Dwarf Warriors I don't think are terrible. I don't really want loads of you know, ranged stuff. We've got a ranged unit here with the Rangers. Rangers are great because they're crossbows with BS4, which is fantastic. Then it's a real shame that you can only take scout gyrocopters in a engineering in an expeditionary force, because I really like the idea of 2 of each. I think 2 of each works quite well, but in any case, let's take 2 with clatter guns, and we'll take 1 with a steam gun, I think. So it depends what your opponent's got, but you need to give yourself options. Clatter guns have move and shoot, which is really important, and quick shot, which means they always get to stand and shoot. So these are like your advanced ones, and this gyrocopter here has a steam weapon, so that's more for like march blocking big units and just constantly steaming them. The clatter guns, jury's out on whether they're any good. Like, it's only ballistic skill 3, which is a bit of a problem because your clatter gun, with it being okay, so you can march and shoot and quick shot. So you're not -1 for march and shoot. You are, however, -1 for multiple shots, and it's only multiple shots D6. So you probably at short range, you're quick enough to do that. Again, if you've got march and shoot, the thing can fly 9, so 18, so it's got 31 inches and you're within half range, which is, pretty decent. So you're going to be hitting on 5s, but yeah, multiple shots D6 is not great, but it's just a bit of a pesky unit. And then we want a war machine for the engineer to do something with, and I really want an organ gun because I think they're great. It does mean fewer iron drakes, but let's put it in and just see how that works. Right, and then we need some iron breakers. We need probably 15 of them, and the standard bearer can take 50 points of banner runes, so you can't take both confusion and hesitation. Out of all of them, you want to turn off lances, really. People with great weapons go first against you, but lances are pretty horrible. So let's do that. Yeah, I think so. And obviously make them drilled. Right, so where are we up to points-wise? 1639. So hopefully Iron Drake, Iron Warden, Drake, gun, no thanks, Trollhammer Torpedo, defo. And duplicate. And duplicate. And duplicate. Right, so we've got 4 points too many here, which is very annoying because I can't reduce the points. But I do really want the organ gun because it's pretty... Actually, no I don't. I need more stuff to kill monsters. I've not been thinking this through. So I could probably take a cannon and then let's save some points somewhere else. Where do I want to save some points? I can't save points here. So the iron breakers, I mean, I don't think I need the rune really, do I? Let's get rid of that. Okay. So they come in a box of 20. So that's one box and that's two. So that's 2 boxes of iron whatevers. We've got a cannon and 3 gyrocopters. The cannon, should we give it some runes? No. Rune of burning. Flaming could be useful. Yeah, the engineer is going to be nearby, so we don't need to re-roll artillery dice. We're not bothered about that. Master Rune of Disguise you don't need because this has the ability of entrenchment, which means it's behind partial cover and also defending a low linear obstacle. And you can only do that to one war machine, but we've only got one. So I think a cannon kind of fits the bill really, and burning like that will help out against stuff like, well, against stuff like this, for instance, or ushabti or anything that's flammable. That I'm umming a lot, and I've just done it again. So Khemri are doing really well at the moment. They're sort of really high up. Also, vampire counts are doing really well at the moment. There's loads of flammable stuff in Khemri and vampire counts. So I think that having a flammable cannon to take out those big monsters is pretty useful, considering what flammable can do. And especially like Khemri, a lot of that has got dry as dust. So if you hit it with flammable, like, you could do double damage, which could be pretty significant. So I think a flaming cannon, very good. Yeah, gyrocopters, march blocking. I'm pretty happy with this already, actually. And the other thing I really wanted was the Master Rune of Balance, if I can afford it. I've gone over by 3 points. Let's take the Great Weapon off the Engineer. And then we're up to 1999. 15 minutes, and I think I think I've got to the end of the list, really. One of these we need to make a detachment. In fact, probably. Why is it gone? Hey, why is it cancelled out the champion on the detachment? What? So if I make it a detachment, are you not allowed any command group as a detachment? Oh, well, that's not an exploit then, is it? You must not be able to you must not be allowed to have okay. Well, that makes this selection a little bit easier. Right, let's build it in Warhol on a table, and then we'll just see how it looks on the table, I think. Because I think it's quite important. I mean, this is free, so it's a really, really useful web resource, because you just can just create there we go. We've got a random thing. I think that's a hill. Looks like a hill, doesn't it? Right, so let's create some dwarves. So we've got an anvil, we've got an engineer, I forgot about the slayer. There's a really cool slayer option as well, but and then we've got a thane. Idiot. Got a thane. Let's get rid of the engineer. Right, then core. We've gone for rangers. We've gone for 2 ranks of 9. Full command. And then we've gone for some warriors. There's 18 of them, so we'll go 3 ranks of 6, I think. That looks alright. And then we've gone for ironbreakers. How many did we go for in the end? I can't remember. 15. 15, so that's 3 ranks of 5, full command again. And then we've also gone for a cannon. That probably can't fit on there, can it? Oops, wrong button. Oh, you can put it there, so it's on there. And the engineer goes up there as well. These probably go there. That I want to go here. In fact, I want to stagger these a little bit. Ironbreakers there. Dwarf warriors probably there. Now what we're trying to do, so we're looking at this table, right? They might send some cavalry round there. So what we want to do is put the dwarf warriors here, such that we need a cart as well, don't we? Because we need a cart to get the +1 move, because it's really, really useful. Alright, we've got a dwarf cart. We want a bugman's cart for +1 move. Because the thing is, this Anvil of Doom has this ability called Strike the Runes, and one of them is Haste and Urgency, so it can move again. So if you've got essentially a drilled unit like this one, you can put it into like a marching column, move it. It's drilled, so you can put it into marching column before you move it. So you know you can move it 12 inches and then cast the thing to make it move again. So it can essentially use drilled to get another free reform. So effectively, you can go 12 inches to there, basically, and then cast your haste and urgency thing, and then why won't it let me? and then you can go forward again like 8 inches, because the movement buff I think carries on. So it's at the start of the turn. If you're near the cart, you get +1 move for your entire turn during the command sub phase. Sorry, yeah. Within 6 inches, +1 move until the end of the turn. So you can really use that. So you can really use that to hoik your stuff all the way over there, like 20 inches over there, and really get into your opponent's face if you need to, for whatever reason. If they're shooting heavy and you just want to get in there, you can quite happily do that. I probably want to put the Thane in this unit to give them a 5-up ward. And you really want to put him. In fact, I think actually I want these to be here. I want that to be like there, and I want that to be like there. So within 6 inches. So where's 6 there? So I can move it a bit further across. Cool. So basically what happens is, okay, so and then we have some rare stuff, which is ironbreakers, 1 rank, 2, 3, and then we want 1 unit over there. We want 1 unit kind of like there, something like that. Then we want 1 unit probably over there, like that. And what you want is you want everything to be kind of pointing away from the middle, because what you want is your opponent to... Oh yeah, and then we've got some gyrocopters. I'll talk about tactics in a second. Just 1. And then one of them will call the dwarf cart. So the dwarf cart goes there. 1 gyrocopter, 2, 3. So these will, but one of these will have a clatter gun, and one of them will have a steam cannon. Basically, they get reserve move. So realistically, you want to make sure that they're 12 inches on, because essentially, first turn you can start to move them around even before the game begins. So that's slightly advanced. Cool, and I think that's okay. Have I got more or less everything? Yes. 18 rangers, 18 warriors, 15 ironbreakers, cannon, iron drakes, dwarf cart. Yeah. And I've still got some points spare. Nice. I'm gonna go for runes. Rune of parrying. Can I afford parrying? I can't afford parrying. That's annoying. Do I want to put him on an oath stone? No. Do I want to? Can you actually put a Thane on shield bearers? That would be quite cool. Because it's just an extra 3 runes for 60 points, which I think you'd pay, wouldn't you? I can't really afford it at the moment, but I can't afford that either. Fortitude. Yeah, let's do that. Actually, no. Let's do fortitude. Let's make the general. Actually, make the anvil the general, and let's give it the rune of fortitude. So why the rune of fortitude? Well, it's +1 toughness, which means it's toughness 8 against shooting, and it's toughness 6 in combat. Combined with the fact that I think it's got a 4-up save, yeah, and it's got a 5-up ward, it means it's going to be pretty difficult to chew through those 4 wounds. It's a bit of a weird thing, but yeah. Cool. I think I'm pretty happy with that as a force. That looks okay. So what I was talking about in terms of like overlapping stuff. So say, you know, turn whatever. So turn before we start, these get to move 9 inches. Again, you just got to be careful if your opponent's got sort of similar abilities. But here we're really trying to start to shut this bit of the board down. But then, for instance, if let's go, where are we? Warriors of Chaos. Let's go for some knights. Might get 6 chosen in the unit. Anyway, so you got these 6 chosen, right? And they're coming at you. They need to choose, you know, they need to try and charge a target. They're either going to charge these ironbreakers, which they don't really want to do, because hopefully you've managed to cast. So one of the other cool things that you can do with the anvil, with Strike the Runes actually, is this Oath and Steel. Now you need to roll an 8 on 2d6 to get the enhanced effect, because they're bound spells with power level 3. Which is sort of good, also sort of bad. You're likely to get the one off on the 7-up, so they're going to be re-rolling failed armor saves. So on a unit that's got a 3-up save and a 6-up ward save, you know, Ironbreakers are pretty survivable anyway. Even chosen would have a difficult time getting through the Ironbreakers. The reason that you want to do a little bit of an overlap here is if he does decide to charge, he's got to sort of come in here. So essentially the Chaos player then ends up losing attacks, if that makes sense. So they kind of come here. They can't touch that unit because they can't make it in combat, but they can only get there, which means effectively you've got rid of 2 steed attacks and you've got rid of 2 rider attacks as well. So, you know, if we run through that combat, so we've got now 4 chosen, so that's probably 9 attacks. They're going to be hitting on 3s, so we've hit with 5. We've got, I don't think I gave them the banner in the end, did I? Confusion or anything, did I? Did I? No. So 5 lance attacks, so these are going to be wounding on 2s, all 3 6s. So the one that saves normally, so we've gone to, let's say we've got re-rolls off, just re-rolls. So we've got one that's 3, so this is a 5, that saves. And then the 3 that are now AP3 because of Armor Bane 1 on the Lances, these will be saving on 6s. And I get to re-roll, oh, save 2. And then I've got 1 6 at ward save. Okay, so that's one Ironbreaker, oh, 1 Ironbreaker has died. And then we've got 4 attacks. Now, realistically, I did roll quite well there. I think probably 2 die. Oh yeah, and then 2 support rider attacks, which both hit. They both wound. Save 1, get to re-roll. And I get a 6 at ward. No. Okay, so we've lost 3. So then Ironbreakers get to attack back with 3 attacks. They're not going to do anything, like hit once. Wound. Oh, and I forgot about steeds, which hit on twice, and then wound twice, and then save twice. So yeah, so what's happened there is we've lost 3 Ironbreakers. Both got banner, both got close order. The only other difference here is this one's got an extra rank. So we've lost by 2 there. And we've got stubborn and we've got shield wall, so we can just say, actually, this time I'm not going to take a test. I'm just going to use stubborn and shield wall in combination. So I just go back 2 inches. Now that's another thing to bear in mind, is that you want this to be like in the way enough that it's in the way, but not in the way such that you're going to get hit if you overrun, if that makes sense. So then they can't do anything about it. You've got drilled. You know, you could decide to redress the ranks because they are heavy infantry, so you only need 4 for a rank. Doesn't say there. Does it say on? Yes, they are heavy infantry, so you need 4 for a rank, and you do have drilled. So before you fall back in good order, you could like go to a full by. In fact, I probably should have done that to begin with, shouldn't I? Thinking about it. I know there's 15 of them, but yeah, I should have gone for like a 4 by, and then there'd be 3 in the back rank. But in that case, in fact, we'd have, what we've drawn, we lost 3, 2 ranks. That's it. Yeah, that's all that happens. So yeah. So we'd have only lost by 1 actually if I'd have gone back, and they're not going to do any damage. So you probably want 4 frontage, and well, actually, if we'd have done that, then the 4 frontage would have put it over there. So it's actually even fewer attacks get in if they want to charge them. Do you see what I mean? Now I don't know. I don't really know how to use this. I think I need to. Yeah, whatever. Right. Yeah, so I think that's pretty good, maybe. And then these guys can like just move out of the way next turn, and then shoot at something over here. These are in combat. They don't get the charge bonus next turn, so they don't get the bonus of lances. So let's say I did go 4 by whatever. So this is 4 by 3 now. So next turn you've got the chosen. So there's probably, well, if they put the champion there and the banner there, that means the champion's also lost attacks, because you, as I clarified in the last FAQ, you can't move through the fighting rank. So characters can't move through the fighting rank. So your champion, if they're outside of combat but they're in the fighting rank, the only way they get in is by issuing a challenge. So, which is a bit of a weird rules interaction, but whatever. So anyway, so we've got 3 here, and let's assume the champion's one of them. So you got 7 attacks, plus the 3 supporting, so 10 attacks. These are hitting on 3s. Again, let's assume we've got the re-rolling saves off, but we didn't get the +1. Because the other thing is, if you get +1 to your save and re-roll saves, that then becomes 2 up re-rolling. Absolutely nuts. Anyway, so 10 of them attacking. We've hit with, that's a pretty poor roll. Let's go for more average, please. 6 hit, and then they're going to be wounding on 4s. So that's 4 wound. That's pretty good. AP 1, because ensorcelled weapons. So we're saving on 4s, and we get to re-roll, and we get 6 at ward. Oh no, 1 more dead. Okay, so that's and then we've got 3 mount attacks, which all miss. So then there'll be essentially 4 attacks back from the ironbreakers, hitting on 4s, and then wounding on 5s. Oh, 2 go through. And they've got Gromwell weapons, so we're -1 save, so these are saving on 3s. Okay, let's go for that, because that one feels a bit more realistic. Right, so we've both lost 1, however, the dwarfs now have a rank. And so the chaos player is taking the leadership test and passes and gets nudged back 2 inches. And pretty much that's going to be, you know, the rest of the game is going to be them trading more or less a casualty per turn each. And, you know, if there's enough turns of combat left, then basically the Ironbreakers are pretty much going to win that, despite the fact that they've just been smashed into by a big unit of Chosen. And that's because we put the Iron Drakes there so that they overlap, which stop them from getting as many in as possible, right? Because if they had to charge the Iron Drakes, then the Iron Drakes get to stand and shoot against them, which is exactly where you want them. Iron Drake standing and shooting is absolutely mega. The difficulty is making sure you've got the right unit with like the extra, the reroll saves. I'd almost always put the reroll saves on the Ironbreakers, because they do need it against something like Chosen. And, you know, if somebody charges into your Iron Drakes and then overruns into your Ironbreakers, then, you know, so be it. But yeah, there's a lot of janky stuff you can do with little units just to get in the way, just to minimise the impact of your opponent. And then there's yeah, I mean, there's so much that you can do with little. This cart of +1 move, I think, is really, really super good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this as a force. It looks quite good, and I think that kind of, you know, Antlers of the Bull kind of formation works really well for dwarves, like a really big head in the middle. I mean, if we were going to go like proper, like almost historic, what you would do is you'd have, so you have a false, you have a like a false, in fact I'd probably put that there and that there like that, and then we need to make sure that's within 6 of 6 goes to there, just in case a stray cannon comes through. In fact, they get a 6 at ward anyway, don't they? Ironbreakers. Is that all the time? I can't remember actually whether it's just like a combat thing or runes of protection. Non-magical. Okay, so if they get hit by... Okay, so 6 inches isn't that important. So you probably want to put the cannon there. You probably want to put the engineer there. Remember, they just have to be within 3 inches and you can't target, so you can put the engineer there. You still can't target him. And then let's put that unit like there, and then that unit goes like there. Because actually, weirdly, you want people to overrun into... let's put that unit there, like that. Something like that, I think. Actually, up there. Makes sense. You could possibly put them there or something like that. Because essentially what you're trying to do is preserve all the fire arcs, so everything gets to shoot at something, but also make it really difficult for when somebody like hits your unit, they've got to like overrun in a weird direction. In fact, you probably want that about there actually. So they've got to go in like a really weird direction, so that it basically increases the amount that they have to roll in order to get anywhere. Because if you think like let's put the knights back in. So if you've got like a unit of knights that have come in here like this, you know, they've got to then roll. How much have they got to roll? I mean, they've got to roll 7. That's why you'd want that a bit further forwards, isn't it? And then they go there like that. So then, yeah, so they get hit there, and then they've got to roll like a 10, pretty much, to get into combat. But then, you know, even if they do kill them, then they overrun 10, and then they close the door, and then they only get to there. So then you have to, so then you have to like close to them like this, something like that. Which A, again, limits the amount of attacks they've got, but B means that they've made a disordered charge. So, well, they don't get their initiative bonus, which is not great. There's other consequences to that as well, which I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, basically, you want to make it really difficult for the cavalry to just ride through you. And it's through having this kind of janky formation that you kind of... Because if you think, like, if you know, they charge in here, for instance, that probably needs to go there, doesn't it? Like that. You know, and that unit gets destroyed, then if they have to overrun because they're like frenzied or whatever, they might be over here. You know, in fact, they might even be there, which would be nice. So you can, we can just pivot that and just have a guess at 0 and hope for a 2, or hit it with grape shot or whatever. In fact, you don't actually ever have to pivot your weapons because I don't think war machines have a fire arc. But then this one, you know, could be, it's a skirmisher, so you get, you know, free movement. So we could go 9 to there. I mean, yeah, you'd have to take a dangerous terrain check, but then you steam the whole unit, which is pretty good. And then this can go like 18 over here and, you know, do a bit of march blocking. This one goes 18 over here, does a bit of march blocking, bit of a nuisance, tries to find some wizards to snipe off with clatter guns and what have you. So there's a lot of like utility that this kind of list gives you. And I think that's all I'm trying to do with the dwarves, is to give you the ability to do pretty much everything. And the swift stride really helps because these guys have swift stride. So if there is like a lone, like say for instance, if there is like a lone, you know, wizard, like I don't know, let's say a sorcerer lord that I mean, because this is one of my tactics, is with the sorcerer lord just have him like there. You know, then that charge is not, you know, with swift stride it's not impossible, so that can get in there and do some impact hits, and that can, you know, and again as well, like the first chance you get to drop your bombs, just do it, because you might not get another chance. So like, you know, drop, if you can do like a, I don't know, 13-inch move there, and there's like an enemy unit there, and then we're going to move 5 over there to get behind them, do that and then just drop your bombs, because you know you only get to do it once per game. It's not gonna make a massive difference, but what it will do is, well, it just means you actually get to do it. I mean, I think that's the main thing. You just get to actually, you know, do your dive bombing. So D6 strength 3 hits, AP 1. You know, it's not amazing, but still, it's, you know, you just get to do it for free. So why not? Especially like, sorry, I just had a bit of a sneezing fit. Don't know why. Not hay fever. I don't get hay fever. Right. Anyway, yeah, especially if you get to fly over skirmishers, for instance, because skirmishers are -1 to hit and shooting. These guys, rangers, are interesting because if you read the skirmish rules, you don't actually have to do that. You don't have to spread them out. You can just have them in that what looks like a formation and just say, oh, they're skirmishing. And you could, like, you know, you could like make a little bit of a gap in between so all of them could still shoot, basically in 2 ranks. Now the problem comes with that, with the new rules, is if they get charged, like if they are skirmishing and your opponent's got some cavalry and they charge them there, for instance, you know, these guys at the here are not going to be able to get into combat, probably, so they're just going to die. So, you know, you got to be careful with using skirmishing rather than open order. I mean, if you can get them on a hill like that, that would be perfect. Because, you know, even, in fact, you'd want that to be like that, wouldn't you? Oops. Give me the unit, not the model. Why could whatever... Anyway, so then, like, for instance, if they decided to charge in with cavalry, they'd go there, and then, you know, that kind of making people get stuck up against terrain is like, you know, rule 1, if you can do that. Because even if, for instance, even if they get to, they can't like pivot, so they can't do a reform. You just want to make it, well, you might not be able to, but getting people stuck on terrain is like, if you can do it, do it. But having these, you know, all 16 shoot at like, even a unit of chaos, you know, warriors, they're going to find it quite difficult to not lose anything. And then 12s to wound, so we've got 2 at AP2, and then what are these for? 1, so 5. So we've got 5 saves. Whew. Oh, 1 goes through. Okay, so you know you can kill 1. But that's if these are like, what if they're like the other unit that's pretty good within the chaos roster. If it's sort of like marauder horsemen with flails and corn and stuff, that unit's just dead from just 1 round of shooting. So you know, a big block of 18 range is definitely worth it. Absolutely. And then as well, you know, when they get charged, you've got throwing axes, and that's their job, is for when you, because you get a quick shot, so you can always use them regardless of distance, and their strength S+1. So you know, you got a load of BS4 shots, BS4 shots. Yeah, and the dwarf crafted, so that applies to the throwing weapons as well. So you're not -1 to hit. So even when somebody like charges in, for instance, you've got like, oh, not 158, but 8, or probably, well, if you're uphill, I guess, yeah, definitely 18 shots. You know, hitting on 3, so that's 12. Wounding on 4, so that's 8. So again, if these are your marauder horsemen, you've just lost the unit by charging them in. You know, and if it's chosen warriors, then you know they've just in fact this one, oh, they got lucky with the ward save. But you know, losing, if they got unlucky and losing a couple of chosen knights on a charge, that's mega. And then they can, what can they do, like 7 maybe kills, 6 or 7, but still you've gone kind of line hammer, so you're still going to get some attacks, and they're with great weapons. You know, so and that relies on them. Like if they've got like 7 attacks, for instance, with these guys, you know, they get to hit on 3s. Obviously, let's say it's 5. They wound on 2s. They all wound. Okay, so that's 5 lost. But then you get to hit back with 3. So with the champion, so 2, and then great weapons do have armor bane, don't they? I think. Yeah, 1. Most things do. So 1 fails. Oh, the other fails. And then pass with a ward save. So that's another 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Was it 6? I can't believe it was 6. Anyway, whatever. But still, you've probably... Do they get stubborn? No, they don't, do they? So they still have to take a leadership test. They're probably falling back in good order at this stage. But still, you know, next round of combat, there's just less... you know, for my money, I think even then, 18 rangers against 6 chosen knights, 18 rangers over multiple rounds of combat, probably win that, maybe? Probably, maybe. Because if you look at, like... Yeah, 276 for 5 chosen knights. That's, you know, 276. Whereas the dwarf unit, 288. Yeah, so it's the same point. But I genuinely think the rangers win, even if you know, get the knights on their best day. So yeah, I think this is a pretty decent list. There's a lot of utility there for you. There's a lot of stuff that it can do. The only thing that it's a bit vulnerable to is like Wailing Dirge and Vampire Counts and Scream and all the rest. But that's why you've got a cannon, because, you know, you want to... I think Terrorgeists have got flammable, haven't they? I think. Oh, my vampire list is called Neff, isn't it? Because where is it? Neferata. Need a general. Oh, obviously. 1 grave guard too many. Yeah, that's always... I'm still trying to work out how to build it. Anyway, we just want to look at a Terrorgeist. Oh. Oh. Bloody hell, they don't even have flammable. Absolutely ridiculous. Is that a necromantic undead thing? Fear, unbreakable, unstable. No. Right, okay, whatever. Terrorgeists have no weakness. Are vampires flammable? They are flammable, yeah. So basically they don't get regen. So you can still hit the vampire count on the in this case Coven Throne, but you can hit it on like a zombie dragon or whatever, and you know, it doesn't get its 5-up regen, which is pretty useful. So yeah, I think that's a pretty decent list. I've managed to waffle on. I finished it about 20 minutes in, but I've managed to waffle. Oh, pricing. Let's price it up. In fact, let's have a look at Element Games, who I've noticed aren't as cheap as they used to be, but they are. It's still pretty good. The experience on Element Games is all right. There are other options, obviously. Dwarf and Mountain Holds. Oh, they've got Gotrek in there. That's cool. Oh, Slayer. Yeah, so that is an option that I don't know about. Because another option really is to like get rid of the ironbreakers and spend all those points on like a super slayer. So a demon slayer like that. And then we've got runic tattoos, so we give them Rune of the Dishonored, which basically means my opponent gets victory points for him if he's still alive at the end of the game. So he can be a really good speed bump, right? You make him as horrible as possible, so your opponent has to deal with him, has to kill him somehow. The other thing it does give you is it gives you a 3-up ward against losing your last wound. So you get 2 wounds that just go. Toughness 5, though, is not the easiest thing in the world. And then we're allowed any 2 runes. Like, there's no points limit on the runes, which I'm a bit surprised at. It's just you're limited by the number you can take. So a Doomseeker can take Rune of the Dishonored and Rune of Endless Battle, so you can take 90 points of runes. Endless Battle isn't as good as you think. I quite like Hateful, because Hatred all enemies is brilliant. Rune of Grit, +1 toughness, is pretty useful as well. You can give it Rune of Wrath for +1 attack as well. Which is pretty good. I quite like Rune of Grit. I know I want him to die, but I also don't. I want him to be an absolute pain in the arse, basically. If I'm going to do this, I want him to be a total pain in the bum. Rune of Warding, what does that do? 2 at ward against a single wound. I'm just making him as like survivable as possible. That would really screw with your opponent's head, wouldn't it? And then, do you know what? Master Rune of Smiting's quite nice. Multiple wounds D6 is pretty nasty. This is no armor saves. No, that's 2 at ward, sorry. Alaric the Mad is no armor saves. Because he's got the Slayer rule, 4 up always wounds. And it's got multiple wounds D3 against Warp Spawn and Behemoth. So Smiting's not that good. Because the stuff with multiple wounds, you know. But, I mean, with Master Rune of Smiting, he would absolutely tear through, like, some trolls or something. Alaric the Mad is pretty tempting. Especially, I know you can't put runes on additional hand weapons. It's so annoying. You can put them on great weapons and hand weapons, but not additional hand weapons. It's just so dumb. This one's always wounds on a 2-up against monsters. Swiftness, strikes first. I mean, that could be pretty nasty, actually. Breaking, parrying. Could take a rune of parrying, so he's he's -1 to hit in combat. I mean, he's -1 to hit in shooting anyway because he's a lone character. So parrying, probably. Let's do that. Let's do Rune of Passage because it means he gets to ignore terrain. Let's do. Let's make it a great weapon. Let's give him Rune of Fury as well. Where are we up to? 274. Yeah, okay. So that would be the option really, to have instead of this unit of Ironbreakers, have this Demon Slayer. Now, in fact, actually, that would work against the Chosen, wouldn't it? Because the Chosen would charge in, and the Demon Slayer would just issue a challenge, and then the Chosen champion would then have like 3 attacks hitting on presumably 4s. I'm presuming he's like 7 or something. Yeah, 4s. -1 to hit, of course, because Rune of Parrying, so 5, so 1 hit. We're toughness 6 now, so it's wounding on 4s. He's got no save, so he takes that wound. Does he? Yeah, because we didn't go for the other one. And then he gets to hit back with his great weapon with +1 attack. Berserker. So he's got 5 attacks. Hold on, did I read that right? Yeah, 5 attacks. Which will be hitting on 3s. Oops. And then 4. Let's say it's Nurgle and reroll that 6. There we go. So 4 hit. And then wounding on, what are we? Strength 4 base? 4 base. So strength 6. So we're wounding on 2s. 4 go through. That's unlikely. Okay, so the 2 with AP 3, so that'd be 5s. And then the 1 with that would be 4. So 2 go through. Okay, so we just about killed the champion. And we lose combat by whatever, it doesn't matter, we're unbreakable. So we've taken a wound and killed the champion. And then next turn they don't get to use their lances. So even with the 4 that are left, there's like, what, 8? Oh, there'll be 2 in base contact, I think, weren't there? Yeah, 2 in base contact. So that'll be 4 and 2 supporting attacks. So 6 hitting on 5s, only 1. Wounding on 6s, nothing. And then he gets to swing back and kill more. So, I think the Demon Slayer wins that combat. You don't really want that, though, with Rune of the Dishonored. You want it to die at some point. And if you make it too tough, it's just nothing's going to kill it. And then your opponent gets victory points for it. It would make a fantastic roadblock, but the problem is you don't get to shoot in combat, which is a bit of a massive downside for stuff like that. So there's no way of just like disengaging him from combat so that you can shoot at the thing that... Do you know what I mean? And you're kind of hoping that they kill you in their turn and they don't get to overrun anywhere. Because if they kill you in your turn, then it's their turn next, and then they get to move and charge and stuff. So that's less good. I think it works if, like, your whole army is Slayers. But I don't think it works as, like, a single character in an army. Which is a shame, because I really want to take a Slayer. But the other option really is whether we go for all these Iron Drakes or whether we drop these Iron Drakes and go for a couple of organ guns. Now, I'm against the organ guns just for one thing, and that is the Anvil of Doom has this one. We've talked about it. Obviously, you can put that on your Iron Drakes too. And obviously, you can make them double move anyway, so you can make them move 3 inches and then move another 3 inches with the rune of haste and urgency or whatever it is. Because they've got full plate armor anyway, so like they've got a 4-up save. If you get reasonably lucky, it's not massively lucky, but reasonably lucky, you get them saving on 3s, re-rolling, right? Which is just, and again, they have runes of warding, which is a 5-up against flaming. So that's not as good as is it non-magical? No, it's just any flaming attacks. So actually, if somebody's got a Ruby Ring of Ruin, they're perfect to put in front of that because, it's not going to do... Especially if they've got 3-up re-rolling saves. Does that count in combat or... Remove that. Does that strike the runes? Is it just in combat? No. It's just insane. It's so good. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Have I cheated? Rune of Fortitude is an armor. No, I haven't. No. Cool. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. And it's exactly 2,000 points, which means I should buy it. Right. Anyway, we were pricing up, weren't we? So we need a couple of gyrocopters. So we're going to have to buy one of those. We don't want a rune smith. We want, I think, 2 boxes of these, do we? I mean, the other option is take some hammerers instead of the ironbreakers. But I just think, I don't know, hammerers do a lot of damage in combat though. But they do die quite quickly, and that's, we want speed bumps. We need another one of those. 34 quid. Oh, because it's Age of Sigmar. Yeah, we don't... I think they come in a box of 2, don't they? And then... yeah, we've got some... Actually, I don't want to price this up yet, actually. I think that's not... Because what they've tried to do on Element Games is try to, like, put stuff that's still in stock from AOS and stuff that they've got in boxes, obviously. So you can still go here and try and find stuff that you can buy. They've put everything together, which is, quite good. Yeah. I don't think this is going to be that expensive an army to buy, though. I just get the sense it'll be like 300 or 400 quid. So it's it's a decent investment, but still, I think this is a. So if you've got these sort of models in your collection, I thought I deleted him. Then it's definitely I've got it open twice for some reason. So yeah, so that's that one. Now, have I still kept the other one, or did I delete it? I deleted it, didn't I? Because I'm an idiot. But yeah, I think that's a decent list. You got, you know, your 3 gyrocopters give you a lot of reach and give you a lot of utility up the table. And they're actually really difficult to kill because they're quite difficult to get hold of unless your opponent's going to start shooting at them, which is fair enough. If your opponent wants to spend a load of shots on a toughness 5, 3 wound, 4 up save thing, they're more than welcome to do that. You know, what you don't want is people targeting your iron drakes with missile units. That's bad, because they can go down to shooting. You don't mind them getting charged. In fact, these are the units that you really want to get charged because they're really good when they're getting charged. They can wipe out units just by being charged by them, so they're fantastic. You actually want your rangers to get charged because of all the throwing axes. If you can get them on a hill, absolutely, rangers will, you know, like in the US Army, they are absolutely fantastic troops. Really, really useful across, you know, across all kinds of disciplines. You've got this unit of Dwarf Warriors, which, you know, is drilled and all the rest, and then we've got some ironbreakers as well, just to kind of take a charge. And probably you put your Thane in there, don't you? Realistically. Although it feels like a bit of a waste giving them a 5 at ward because they've already got one. Whereas giving Dwarf Warriors a 5 at ward is pretty nice. And then we've got this Engineer, which basically is a 1 dwarf unit of Thunderers. And then we've got the Anvil, which does loads of stuff. The other cool thing it does is this, Rune of Wrath and Ruin, which is 27-inch magic missile, cast on a 9 or 6. 27 inches is a really interesting range because it means you can use this on enemy wizards that aren't within range to dispel you, which is 100% perfect dwarf, you know, beardy sort of nonsense. Brilliant. High number of hits, medium strength, high AP, with a very long range for a magic missile. Means this is a fantastic magic missile, which is another reason why you might consider having a double anvil in a list. In fact, I am considering it for this, but I don't know what I'd drop. I probably have to drop iron drakes and then maybe a couple of gyrocopters, and I don't think another anvil's worth that. But anyway, this is just what I think. You know, let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, whatever. But this is what I would suggest having a crack at a tournament with. I think it could do fairly well, and if you do, please let me know. Get in touch. You know, we can do like a thingy share thing. I do actually want to talk to some people, so if you fancy like taking part and getting your face in some of these videos, let me know. That'd be nice to have somebody to talk to. I think that's about it. So yeah, we'll get to the usual stage where I'd say if you've liked the video, there's a button for that. If you've got this far, you should probably consider subscribing. Maybe, I don't know, unless you've had an hour and however long it's been of just bashing your head into the desk saying, "Dan, you're wrong." I'm not perfect. I do get stuff wrong. And what else do I need to say? Just toodaloo, really, isn't it? I think. So I've got another video to do about dwarves. I want to update all my tier maker list things with the new units, and actually revisit some of the old units. I might do that and just sort of play around with tier maker stuff. So I'll probably do that as another video, and then I'm pretty much done with dwarf content. Apart from maybe buying some. I don't know. I might buy a gyrocopter. A couple of gyrocopters and put them together and do like a how-to. I've got, in terms of stuff, I've still got Elise Ducar, which I want to... I'll keep looking over here because the camera used to be there, but it's there now. I've got Elise Ducar that I want to put together and do like a painting tutorial video for her. I've got a really interesting idea for like a paint scheme that will subvert your expectations but also look great. and be sort of fairly classical as well. I was going to go for like I don't know, like I don't know how to describe it. Like not grimdark and not Renaissance and not not dirty but dirty. Anyway, I'll have a crack at that, and yeah, so that's hopefully going to be the content coming out of this week. However, I have just had a week off, so I've got a week's worth of work piled up at an actual paid job, so whatever. Anyway, I hope everybody has a good day wherever you are in the day, and I'll say toodaloo.